Hey everybody, it's Msfs here. So, welcome back to the VFR World Tour. This is leg 6. If you're new to the series, which certainly if you may be catching this on Twitch, which I'm starting to do a good amount of my recording on for things like this that are just kind of raw video or things, I might edit in and out. In this case, I'm not sure I'll show the whole flight because we have a good amount of things over something where we really aren't going to see a whole lot. But in any event, we're going to be taking off from Deer Lake, so let me get everything starting to load here. And hopefully we'll be in good shape. So the other thing I'm going to start is FSLTL, which is traffic injection, so that we've got some other aircraft around and it doesn't look like a dead world. So that's something I tend to do a bit regularly. Let's see. Okay. So you can see I've got a bar on top. It did just change the aircraft to the 850 as it went in, but we're here up in Deer Lake in Canada. You can see that with a Charlie in front. I guess that's the designator. There's the plane we've been using. So this is a VFR World Tour, as I said. So this is something I found on flightsim.to. I think it's actually called VFR World Tour for TBM 930, which is what they designed it for. But I've come across and really enjoy this black square 850. It's payware aircraft, but a lot more detailed and just a lot more capable as well. So just kind of enjoying that. And so very similar characteristics, so I tend to just leave that as it is, or tend to prefer that because it's just modeled a lot nicer and so forth than a default aircraft would. And it also kind of remembers wear and tear state, things like that will make it a little more interesting as we go around the world, because we may need to look for some things. Sadly, we may get some failures here and there. Just make sure that our horn works up there. Going through our tests, just trying to make sure I remember the startup a little bit. So we've got our power on. Get our main generator set. Want to make sure our auxiliary is on to start. Should be fine with just the base level of fuel that it loads. Go ahead and we'll get the radio master on so that the radios start coming up. We'll set the bleed to auto. Get the air conditioning on, the fan flow on. Because it's a VFR series, I don't tend to fly at very high or anything. So, okay, we're going to go ahead and import the flight plan. So, so for those of you who have followed the series out on YouTube, you may be like, wait, where are the waypoints? There's usually waypoints for these legs. You're right, there are. I'll get to that in a little bit because we do have some uniqueness. We'll get these to start searching so that everything is set. Just get the transponder on. Alright, and then we want to get the EFIS master going. We're going to then want to get the autopilot and trims. So we'll put on the flight director. Why is interesting? Maybe it takes a bit, or maybe we need a few things to come up. But anyway, so we'll go get this back, go to the map. So yeah, should be all set. All right, we want nav. All right, I guess it's still coming up there. Just trying to remember if I've got anything that's not running. We'll get everything turned on because we are here in Canada after all. In October, I'm not using, I don't tend to use real weather, but in any event, it may go ahead and operate that way. We're going to want to get our trim adjusted a bit. So there we go. And then we'll want to get that to max RPM. We'll get our flaps down to takeoff. All right. I don't understand why I'm getting, oh, I see, I bet I know I need to go. We need to get all our gyros on here. That's going to help. Then we're going to want our nav strobe. We'll put the pulse system on. We'll get our taxi lights on so that we're ready to go there. All right, we'll get our starter on. Nope, not yet. So I wasn't quite ready for that. All right, so now are we on? No, we're not on GPS. Okay. Interesting. Normally that would do it, but let me go. So I might need to go to flight plan and then do direct. Oops. Direct CYR, activate. Will that give us? There we go, GPS, that's what we want. All right. So at this point, there we go. Now we can start to get some of these things going. All right. We've got auxiliary, fuel pump to auto, low volt, inertia. Okay. So what we want to do then is we're going to get the starter going. I think I can see it from here. We're going to put the ignition on auto. And then as this comes up, once it gets to about 13, I'm going to go ahead and get the flow to low. And then we're waiting for about 50. And then we shall go the final step up on our fuel, all the way up, and that should get us going here, which it has. All right. So I should be able to turn the starter off now. Now we're kind of at 0.28. Standby should be close to that. It's a little bit lower, but you know, and again, the ignition, it still moves a little bit, but might be because, you know, we had things operating for a bit on battery, so that definitely doesn't help anything. All right. So Now we're going to want auxiliary BP on auto. All right. So I think we're going to test the terrain.
Sink rate. Don't sink. 500.
All right, and let me take a peek at what we've got. So, all right, I'm just in my Navigraph here, just trying to get some stuff set up properly. It's interesting. It's not quite doing what I need it to be doing. Why? I guess we'll try to load it again. No, that's not working. So maybe we'll just pick it manually. All right, that's at least working. It's a little odd with what I had happening, but there we go. So, because what I want to do is give you guys a view here. So this is our route. So we're going from Deer Lake up to Goose Bay here. Pretty straightforward. Again, as you can see, no waypoints, nothing that that you're seeing. All right, I know about the initial separation, the auto select. I'm trying to remember. I might need to take a peek. Let me get to my physical checklist for the TBM 850. That may be something I need to take a peek at here, because clearly I am missing something. So we did the test, we got the lights on, we got the mixture, we started. De-ice, turn on, generator to standby. Okay, bleed air auto, air conditioner on, fan flow to auto, radio AP master EFS, trim, set the Garmin GPS, we did that. Altitude, altimeter, and heading. That's right, I was going to do the altimeter. So we've got our, this should be, whoa, 3020. That's a lot. Interesting. But that's what it has it set at today. Alright, so yeah, I'm not sure on the auto select exactly why that is on. I don't think it's a problem in that case, but maybe that's just letting me know. Oh, there we go. We need the fuel select to auto, because otherwise we're sitting there having to manually adjust that. So I know normally, we don't have any lights. That's the goal. All right, so I think I'm going to set myself at 3,500. Things aren't, no real high hills around here or anything, so we should be okay. We've got the taxi lights on, and at this point, I think we're going to be getting ready to head out. So we'll taxi out to the runway. Tend to use the inertial separator because in case she gets some dirt and stuff in. Yes, I know there's folks there and whatever, but it's just kind of how Microsoft Flight Simulator works. So we've got a plane there. I don't know if that's somehow -8 pops in my head. I could be entirely wrong. I am not a aviation expert. I'm not an aviation anything. I'm a guy who does flight simming. So just trying to set my throttle at a point where the plane moves. And then, yeah, I'm going to taxi over here, and we're just going to head down, get ourselves on the runway. So we shall do that, get ourselves back, and so you can see we've got, I'm not sure, I don't know that I know the livery with that little yellow thing. The other ones with the maple leaf are Air Canada. I mean, I'm assuming these are some sort of Canadian this, that, or other, but not entirely sure. But we'll get ourselves here. It looks like we got a little standing water. It's interesting. So I don't know if that's like permanent part of the scenery or what, but you know, it is what we've got. And then, you know, in these smaller airports, like, we can back taxi on the runway. So, you know, we're on the runway here, so. And we know that a little bit because of the lights, the alternating red-white lights, or, you know, we're getting close to the end, if I remember correctly. So that gives you a little bit of a visual warning. But, yeah, I'm going to head down that way, and then we want to be heading 354 degrees, which obviously is almost due north, but we're going up there. But we'll basically take a little bit down here at the end of the runway. So we got a little bit of a turnaround pad here, which is typical when you've got backtrack built in to the airport design. All right. So there we go. All right. Well, let me straighten out a bit better here so that we're really set. All right. Do that. All right. Now we can turn off the inertial separator because that will help with things operating a little cleaner. So, one of the things, if you've been a follower of the series, if not, like, what's wrong with you? No, obviously, whoever sees this shows up welcome. Always happy to have folks consuming some of what I'm putting out. So, one of the reasons I picked this off of the various world tours that are there is the creator of this did something, what I'll say is incredible. They basically have included a 248-page tour book that explains every leg of the flight and what's happening, and in some cases gives us a lot of sightseeing for the VFR and so forth. So in the beginning, you know, if you go to the first videos in the series that I have in the playlist for this on my YouTube page or YouTube channel, you'll kind of get the background in more detail. I'll read through his introduction, but the summary is basically he's a history buff, a lot of World War II, stuff like that. So there were a lot of things that he chose to include on the route that were World War II based, and we're going to hear some of that today in the narration. But basically he includes narration for all 237 legs, and again, there's 248 pages, 55,000 plus words. So I'm anticipating a lot of fun as I continue to go through this. But what we've got coming up, he'll explain in a little bit, is a little unique for the next few legs. And basically it's the next 3 legs. So this leg 6, 7, and 8, we're just basically trying to get ourselves over to kind of the next piece, and then I think we have a leg or two again after a sightseeing leg in Iceland in the middle. But we are you know, trying to get across the Atlantic. So typically what I would do is I would read whatever it is, the intro to the leg, and then as we got to the waypoints, I'd go ahead and bring up that narrative that he had explaining, you know, what is coming up, so that we can all look for it, enjoy it together, and try to spot it and so forth, or at least know in theory where we're at and why we're here. But because this is a no waypoint leg, there's really none of that. So I'm going to go ahead before we take off here, and I'm going to go ahead and read all the narration. And there's only about 3 or 4 sentences, but here we go. Sometimes you just need to get from here to there. This flight is a relatively short hop from Deer Lake to Goose Bay in Canada. During World War II, the U.S. sent hundreds of heavy bombers to England for the bombing campaign against Hitler's Germany. Almost all were flown across the North Atlantic, and Goose Bay was frequently the first stop on their journey. So that is what we are doing today. So I am going to release my brakes, and we are going to get airborne. Because again, not a terribly, it's not a, you know, this is not something that we're going to do quickly, as this series. Like, obviously, you know, these TBMs, they don't have the speed of a 737 or something. We're not going to be going 400 on our airspeed, so 274 nautical miles is going to take a bit of time. Alright, we'll get ourselves up, level out, go on the runway heading, and then obviously we need to go head some other directions, so we're going to pull the gear up. We're going to start to turn as it's asking us to do, and then once I'm up a bit more and somewhat established, then we'll worry about trying to get the autopilot going and go from there. So right now, just using Msfs map enhancement. Alright, so it looks like it's gonna kind of try to get us going there. So let's see. If I now turn on autopilot, alright, it's gonna do that. And then what I need to do is engage, change that, and we'll get ourselves going at, say, 700 feet per minute. Let's see how our airspeed works with that. And again, we're just going up to 3,500 feet. So VFR, if you're unfamiliar with it, I mean, technically, I guess we should be going to 4,500. So we'll change that, because the direction of travel, we should be going even. But anyway, we'll do that. We'll see how that goes. But we're going to fly a little bit here, and then we will get over and across. I don't know if it's the outlet for the St. Lawrence Seaway or not, but you know, we're gonna have probably a third of the journey or so just over some water. But what we're able to do now, let me get my flaps up too, that will help. So that will give us some increased airspeed as well. And then what we can do is we can put this into 850, which kind of gives us a bit of a boost. Alright, you can see we've got an exceedance, so I don't want to do that, but I can be above 100. I can be between 100 and 125. Alright, and if I, let's see, play with some of these, I'm trying to get to nav, or let's see, that is the nav page. There we go. Fuel. All right, time remaining. All right, maybe it's... All right, yeah, this is estimated. I think that's estimated to empty, but to the airport, 261.5 nautical miles. So that is letting us know that we're within 1,000 feet of our height. Those quick beeps and the yellow light. So that gets us there. So yeah, the kind of the autopilot is a little bit different on the TBM series. So it definitely takes some getting used to and so forth. But yeah, heading up here. And heading due north, so we're close to due north, and obviously just getting a little colder and colder. So we're 71 inside, 52 Fahrenheit outside. Again, we're not climbing up that high, so obviously we're gonna get a little colder. We go to 51, it's dancing with 50. Now it's back to 52, but with clear skies, it's not going to be too challenging. But, we can go at a pretty good clip, so I'm going to up the throttle a little bit again. Let's be careful, because we are getting close to the red line, but yeah, I think that'll be it. But then, my airspeed is like 209, we'll see 211, so we're going a little bit quicker here and there, but, any little bit will move us along. I think I tap dance a little bit with around 220 is kind of what I can get. And so that's the nice thing with these aircraft, because of that, TBM flap setting, it kind of gets us to a certain point, and then, we're able to move almost like on turbo. And yes, my indicated airspeed now is 220. Obviously, at the bar on top, you'll be able to see the ground speed. You'll be able to see my progress and all of that directly. So, eventually, the time to go and the ETA should populate. I've seen that happen on other flights, so I've used this for some other things. Again, sequence on when they'll appear on the YouTube channel, not sure. So you might see one ahead of the other, but I've flown a NASCAR leg here with the bar. My hope is today to fly another NASCAR leg. We've got some long flights to end the season. So I'm just, when I have an opportunity, I'm trying to jump on those, because what I don't want to do is have the time pressure of having to get it done that given week and then not being able to find a 5 or 6 hour window, which is kind of what has been needed to effectively do those. Plus, I'm a little worried with some of the stuff that's going on, but I'll explain that in that video. Of some of the challenges I had, because that 34th leg I had to do 3 different times, or attempt 3 different times. I didn't operate it the whole way, but what I tend to do, even in the regular series, because it's VFR, I do leave the video and I leave the flight going, but I kind of go ahead and give you a view out the window where you can see, you can then also see there, you can see there. So, this might be a little bit better. The only challenge is I can't see the board then. So if I don't hear anything, but because we're doing a lot of water, and I think it's just a lot of this, but hey, we got some snow out here, given that, again, it's October. So, but you can see the distance here. Obviously, it's down there as well. and it's showing us, you can see, about an hour. But a lot of what I'll tend to do then, because I don't have anything to share, once I'm done chatting, I'll just basically mute myself and let the plane fly, and just for those who want to watch and observe, they can do so. But I don't try to create the situation where I'm constantly narrating. Where more on the NASCAR series, because it's not VFR, I'll do a little bit of the climb, and then we'll do the descent and landing, and not really do much in the middle. Potentially going to be dabbling with some things in some of the series to try to maybe add a little bit more production, up the production difficulty or whatever, if you want to call it that. Just make it a little more polished on adding some other things, more outside views and so forth. So speaking of outside views, let's pop up here and just see what we can see. So nice reflections in the water there. Really cool, but obviously coming up at the edge here of the island, and as you can see, we've got enough water at this height at least that we can't really see across. So, and again, it's probably 100 miles, maybe 125 across the water, so it's not incredibly far. But, it's far enough. And again, you can see at your top bar also the distance to go, so it's less important, I guess, that I really show it out the window here. But like I said, I'll also tend to take off my headset just to, give my... Excuse me, yawning there, give my head a break, stuff like that. So that's where it's still nice to see the lights in case suddenly something starts to blow up on me. But we're going to have, again, 3 legs here in the VFR series that are going to be a little less than what we've had. I mean, if you're looking to see a little bit more what this trip is like, I'd encourage you to watch one of the first 5 legs, because there was definitely more of the traditional, hey, multiple waypoints, what's going on. I guess the part I can enhance here, since again we may have some newer folks seeing these things on Twitch, wondering, hey, what is this, what's going on? So the journey itself, if kind of the dimensions of the Earth, or the stats of the Earth, it's like 25,000 miles, I think, around, the equator, to kind of go around directly. This entire tour is like 115,000 miles, I believe. So it's, in essence, over 4 times the length of just flying around the world. So obviously, it's going to take some time. But part of why he does that is it's not a point from here to there like we're flying today. And you'll see that once we get to, I guess it would be leg 9, I think, is in Iceland. And we kind of handle most of Iceland because it's not that big. He just does that in one flight. I had kind of peeked ahead a little bit. I mean, to some degree, I'm not really looking ahead in the narration, but obviously when we hit these, I did want to see, all right, what's the situation? Like, how long are we just doing things? And, as he shared, what his wording was is, sometimes you just need to get from here to there. So that's what, really was the goal, and I wanted to understand, right? So how long are we going to have these just from here to there flights? But there's a lot to come. I don't know if and when I'll get through all of this. I mean, 237 legs. Heck, if I did one every day, it would still take the better part of, 9 months or something. And I'm not doing them every day. Sometimes there's a couple weeks or even more between one leg in the other. It's just when I can find some time and so forth. It's going to be a little bit easier because doing it this way, one of the things I have started to discover, so as far as the Twitch part of this, I'm not even a week into doing this, so I'm still going to be learning, just like it took me a while to understand how YouTube worked and what made sense and so forth. And I'm still kind of dabbling with what makes sense. I mean, for the most part, probably when I'm doing things, if I can, unless I know I'm just going to be massively distracted. Usually, though, if I'm going to be massively distracted, I don't really have time to do any kind of a sim. I can't devote enough attention to it. But there are things like farming simulator work or something that I do that I can just stop. But, as a stream, it's not super exciting, but it is what it is, and if people want to watch, they can watch, and if not, they can go from there. The other thing that I've been trying to figure out is, I'm used to kind of the YouTube thing where you needed what was a pretty challenging threshold to get monetized. You needed basically 4,000 hours of views in a year and 1,000 followers, which I have achieved, so I want to thank the community for that. That's very humbling that there's enough people interested in subscribing and all of that. And I tend to get the viewership hours seem to come a lot easier than the subscribers. And I think some of it is just, it's still a niche thing. I mean, you gotta like Sims, you gotta like the Sims I'm doing, you gotta be happy with a lot of things. So I get the challenges of trying to get anyone's attention these days. And so the fact that I'm coming up on 1,500 subscribers on YouTube is always just humbling and amazing. And, hopefully it continues to grow and I'll be having the same statements, when I come up on 5,000 and 10,000 and beyond. So that would be just really, really amazing. And at some point, just like any channel, if I get to the point where there's enough ad revenue being generated from what YouTube shares with us as content creators that I can do things, I might be able to get into that point where, there's some giveaways, there's something here and there that we do to give back to the community that is following and just offer something a little bit different. But right now, that gets you up to speed. The benefit with the overlay that I was able to find, the little red bar on top. So, I'm using kind of the reddish, which is the background of my Msfs logo. So that's, I guess, my channel colors, red and white. And, but you've got the red bar across the top. So it's going to show you the progress. So you can't always... if you're watching it, well, anywhere, because again, this won't get clipped on YouTube, you can always just pick it forward in the stream, see where the progress bar is, and go from there. But I'm going to go ahead and put myself on mute and let ourselves go for a bit, and then we'll see where it makes sense to maybe jump back in. It might be as we're really, really close to Goose Bay, or maybe a little bit earlier, but either way, you'll have the view out the windshield to see and follow along with where things are at. So I'll see you in a bit. Alright, so time to come back and get this plane down on the ground. So thanks if you've been watching along here as we've just been covering the distance between Deer Park and Goose Bay. I know, there wasn't a lot going on. Obviously, as I had said when I took the break, not a lot to say. But we're heading in here. We are about, I think you can see it on the overhead, about 40 nautical miles away. So looks like maybe picked up a viewer. So my stream manager says 2 viewers. So hey, if somebody's there, hello. If you're there, maybe say hello in the chat so I know who you are and can thank you. And if you got anything to talk about, happy to chat and do it that way, where you can pop it in the chat, and when I see it, I'll respond to it. But maybe I scared him away, or well, actually the viewer count went down right after I said that, and likely I know the viewer piece is a little bit later, or the stream is a little bit delayed, so probably hearing what I just said now and they're gone, because now we're back down to 1 viewer, which I think is the preview stream that I have going on. So okay, I did say the ETA and the time to go does fill in. It's not, for some reason. It did do it, I think, on the NASCAR series, so maybe it has something to do more with the detail the flight management computer gives. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I think the bar, and I can't see it on my screen, but I think it's where I'm moving my arrow now after I made everything appear. But up there, that overlay is fed by what's called FSUIPC, which is a feed that sends things to the appropriate space so that it gets that information out. So let's see, down to just about 30. I mean, we're only 3,500 feet. I think what I want to do is take a peek. All right, so we have a runway 31, which is somewhat in line, obviously, with what we're doing. So let me go ahead and maybe change that, or make that, or I'm sorry, it's runway 33 actually. So we're going to add that, and then I'm going to go ahead and get the RNAV set up. So that should change things a bit. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to heading, and we're going to turn and try to intercept what I see on Navigraph. So you're not going to really be able to tell. So I'm going to get myself down to 2,500 in the meantime, too. So I'm going to do that, and that will help. So, just trying to align over here. So that'll help me kind of get a little cleaner approach, and should make for a smoother landing. Again, I'm gonna go ahead and pop this out so that I really have a tight view, and then I can start to see when I need to maybe start turning back So I'm just paying a little attention to what I'm trying to do. So yes, I'm still here. I mean, obviously you can probably tell that. You can see I'm adjusting things, but I'm trying. You know, obviously it's not going to help to overfly the intercept, and then get in there. So 2,500 should still keep me above the hills. But I probably don't want to really go any lower than that. You know, and I think I'm going to have to turn in from this intercept at some point. But yeah, we're still 20 miles out, and we're not honestly cutting much from the airport. So I'm trying to figure out, because what I can't tell is what angle that really is. Can I see anything? Not. I mean, 20 miles is a long way, especially at this height. So, you know, the good news is we're kind of after this ridge that I'm passing over. It looks like everything's a little bit lower. Alright, so yes, we're coming in here to Penroe now, which is the point that we're going to want to fly in from. Probably we're going to pull this back. We're going to turn off the 850, get ourselves starting to slow down. And but yeah, I'm pretty much, I think I'm kind of on the correct heading. I might be a little bit tight there. And then obviously we'll want to come in at 330, so it's runway 33 actually. So at this point, let's see. Okay, so those are just the different points, but yeah, 330, I just want to kind of pay attention. So I'm going to start that turn, and that should be 330, and that should start getting me aligned to the airport and the runway. And it will be, I believe, just over the river there. So, I'm worried it's there. But I should be coming in on the appropriate angle. So again, we're going to slow down. So now I'm going to want to go down here. We'll get that. I don't want to go down that fast. That's really fast. But we'll go down here, get ourselves down another 1,000 feet. I'm going to go ahead and get my first level of flaps out. That should slow us down a good amount here. Alright, we're less than 10 out. We're going to drop our gear, because I don't want to forget that. That would be a bad thing. Now, the one thing I need to do is, yeah, okay, so it's 29er, 9er. So that means we're a lot closer to the ground than we think. Alright, I am not seeing this airport. Okay, so it's not right across. I wonder if it's actually out there. So it might be further, because yeah, now I can see across the river. And so that's why I'm not seeing it. So it might actually be here, because I do think it's near the body of water. I don't know if this is actually Goose Bay. Yeah, well, I'm seeing Goose Bay, but now I see that that's just like the call-out points and stuff. Alright. 6.7 miles. Alright, so now I want to... Now I've drifted a lot more over than I would have liked to, so... I think that's actually the airport there. So we're going to need to go pretty sharply over here. And then come in. So let me turn a little bit more. Okay, and then we're gonna... No, that is it over there. So let me come off the autopilot and just get ourselves in where we need, because that is the airport. So I'm gonna kind of overcompensate a bit. Flaps full down, gear down, just kind of double checking everything. Alright, now I've overdone it. But this might actually be okay, because I'll be a little more aligned. Okay, where is the airport? Yeah, I think I went way too far. I'm still far enough out, I should be okay. Okay, now it's... Alright, now I'm just weaving like a snake. So, it's in front of me here. What I need is the landing monitor. That's gonna help. Whoops. Okay. So,
500. Don't sink rate.
where is... Alright, don't sink rate. So it says, don't sink rate. Alright, I cannot find the airport. It's over there. Holy moly. I mean, I'm 3 miles away, but yeah, I'm just not... Let me get a little higher up, because I'm just losing sight of it over the dashboard, but you can see it now, I would think. So let me just do that. I just hate coming in like this, because this is now really a pronounced attempt here to align, but there is the runway. So that is what I am going for. Alright. So, always a little bit of fun sometimes with VFR to sit and find what you need and get yourself aligned. So now let me get back properly in the seat. I don't need the higher view now, because now at least... Now again, I did not get the landing monitor up. I hit the wrong button. But this will give me a little bit more detail so that I'm not just relying on the instruments, which obviously, you know, is good, but I'm not always that good. It's always nice to have a little bit more information. Okay, that should be the inner marker. We're going to back off on the throttle. Pappy's showing we're way high, which I know we are. But now we'll drop the throttle and we'll glide her in. Alright. Welcome to Goose Bay. So we have made it. Not sure, I don't have the airport map up, but we'll see where it encourages to go with the lines. Obviously, I'm not using any air traffic or anything, so I'm not getting any guidance. Just speed things up a bit so we keep rolling. Okay, that's probably a little too much. I think we've got a taxiway off here to the left. Might also have one off to the right. Yeah, it looks like actually it's funneling us to the right, so we'll do what the markings suggest we do. And we'll see what looks like a GA area, and we'll take it from there. But yeah, so I don't know. I don't think, because I think it was Gander in Canada that had a lot of the September 11th planes. I think that's the one where, if you've ever seen the play Come From Away, that it's based on what happened there, that you had this town of like 10,000 people where suddenly all these planes showed up unexpectedly, and they suddenly had to put all these people up and feed them, and you know, the town basically, I think, like doubled, because I think they got like 10,000 passengers. But you know, which, if you think about it, an airplane, you know, 200 people, 40 planes, that's, you know, that's 8,000 people. So I mean, it's not impossible that that would have been the case. Why is there no path? I mean, they basically like made their own. They're like, I'm not going that far. Although it looks like it's just right here, so that's just a little lazy, I suppose. I mean, again, if I had my airport chart up, I'd be able to tell. I mean, this still is not terribly well designed here. But yeah, this is, at least now I'm near some hangars, so we'll go in between these. We'll pass this building, and then we'll turn in, and we'll call it a day for our trip. But yeah, I watched a documentary on air traffic, and they ended up talking about Gander at some point, because it had the air traffic from that area before you went over the Atlantic. So they were going ahead and flying